The bank manager's voice cut through the quiet lobby like a knife. "Sir, this withdrawal of $500 from your account has been flagged as suspicious. Your transaction history is minimal, and we need to verify your identity and the purpose of this request." Luca Thompson's heart pounded in his chest as he stood at the counter, the eyes of other customers turning toward him with a mix of curiosity and judgment. "It's just my money," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. But the words came out shaky. "I need it for an emergency with my family." Before the manager could respond, the glass doors of the bank swung open, and in walked Ethan Blackwood. His presence immediately commanded the room. Dressed in a perfectly tailored navy suit that screamed power and wealth, Ethan strode straight to the counter, his sharp blue eyes locking onto Luca with a mixture of concern and determination. "What's going on here?" Ethan demanded, his voice calm but carrying an authority that made the manager straighten up instantly. "This is my partner, and if there's any issue with his account, you can direct it to me." The room erupted in whispers as several people recognized the famous tech billionaire. Phones started to come out discreetly. Luca felt a wave of relief wash over him, but it was quickly followed by a sinking dread. This was the moment he had feared for 2 years. Their relationship had been a carefully guarded secret, hidden from family, colleagues, and the public eye. Now it was exploding in the middle of a midtown Manhattan bank on a Tuesday afternoon. The manager stammered, "Mr. Blackwood, I apologize. We had no idea." The system flagged the withdrawal due to the account's low activity and the amount relative to recent deposits. Ethan leaned forward, his tone ice-cold yet controlled. "Then unfreeze it. Now, and while you're at it, make sure this incident is noted as a mistake on your end. My partner should not be treated like a criminal for accessing his own funds." Within minutes, the transaction was approved. The manager personally handed Luca the cash, apologizing profusely while avoiding eye contact with Ethan. As they walked out together, Ethan's hand briefly brushed Luca's back in a gesture that was both protective and intimate. Outside on the busy sidewalk, the spring air felt too bright, too normal for the storm that had just begun. "You should have called me," Ethan said quietly once they were in his black SUV. $500 is nothing. Why put yourself through that?" Luca stared out the window at the passing yellow cabs. "Because I needed to do it myself. My sister called last night. She's struggling with tuition again, and Mom and Dad are pressuring me to help. They think I'm still the responsible older brother from Ohio who can fix everything. They don't know about us. They don't know I'm this." His voice cracked slightly. The weight of 2 years of secrecy pressed down on him. Ethan had everything: money, influence, a penthouse overlooking Central Park. Luca had a modest apartment in Brooklyn, a job as a graphic designer, and a family that still sent him church pamphlets every month warning about the gay agenda. Ethan reached over and squeezed his hand. "I get it. You want independence. But hiding us is starting to hurt you more than it protects anyone." They drove in silence for a few blocks. Luca's mind raced. The way the bank manager had looked at him, like he was trying to pull off a scam, had humiliated him. But Ethan's entrance had shifted everything. The power dynamic was clear, and Luca hated how much he both loved and resented it. Back at Ethan's penthouse that evening, the city lights twinkled below them like distant stars. They sat on the wide leather couch, a half-empty bottle of wine between them. Ethan pulled Luca close, his fingers tracing gentle circles on his arm. "Today changes things. People saw us. Phones were out. This might not stay quiet." Luca nodded, his chest tight with anxiety. He thought about his parents back in Ohio, his younger sister Emily who idolized him, and the life he had built pretending to be straight to keep their approval. Coming out now, especially tied to a billionaire, would shatter that fragile balance. The next morning, Luca woke to his phone buzzing nonstop. Friends were texting. "Dude, is that you in the video with Ethan Blackwood?" A shaky clip from the bank had already hit social media. It wasn't viral yet, but it was spreading in New York circles. Comments ranged from supportive to vicious. Gold digger alert. Finally, a cute gay power couple. Luca's stomach dropped. He showed the phone to Ethan, who was already on his laptop handling damage control with his PR team. This was only the beginning. The suspicion at the bank had been nothing compared to what was coming from the people who mattered most. Luca wondered if their love could survive the exposure, or if the price of truth would be everything he had ever known. Ethan's PR team moved fast, but the video had already gained traction by lunchtime. Luca sat in his small Brooklyn office, pretending to work on a client logo while his mind replayed the bank scene on loop. His coworker, Sarah, leaned over his desk with wide eyes. "Luca, people are saying that's you with Ethan Blackwood. Is it true? You've been dating a billionaire this whole time." Her tone was a mix of excitement and disbelief. Luca forced a smile. "It's complicated." Inside, panic clawed at him. Sarah was one of the few people he trusted, but even she didn't know the full story of how deep the secrecy ran. That evening, Ethan suggested they lay low at the penthouse. Over dinner, takeout Thai that Ethan had ordered from their favorite spot, Luca opened up more than he had in months. "I met you at that charity gala 2 years ago, remember? I was there as a +1 for my boss. You were the keynote speaker talking about AI ethics. I thought you were untouchable. When you came over and asked for my number, I almost dropped my drink." Ethan smiled, his eyes softening. "You looked so real in that room full of fake smiles. I knew I had to know you." Their early days had been stolen moments. Late-night drives outside the city, quiet dinners in Ethan's private dining room, weekends in the Hamptons where no one asked questions. Luca had fallen hard and fast. Ethan made him feel seen in a way no one else ever had. But the hiding came with rules. No public photos. No meeting friends or family. Luca told his parents he was too busy with work for visits. When they pressed about dating, he invented vague stories about non-existent girlfriends. The $500 withdrawal had been his attempt at reclaiming some control. Emily's tuition payment was due, and their parents were stretched thin after Dad's medical bills. Luca refused to ask Ethan again. He had already accepted help with rent and gifts that made him feel indebted. "I wanted to prove I could handle my own family stuff," Luca explained now, pushing rice around his plate. Ethan listened without interruption, then said, "I love that about you. Your pride. But pride can become a wall between us." As night fell, they moved to the balcony. The city hummed below. Ethan pulled Luca into his arms, kissing him softly under the stars. It was moments like this that made the secrecy worth it. The warmth of Ethan's body, the way he whispered promises of a future where they wouldn't have to hide. But Luca's phone kept lighting up with missed calls from his mother. He silenced it, guilt twisting in his gut. The following day brought the first real confrontation. Luca's brother, Jake, called from Ohio. "Mom saw the video. She's crying, man. What the hell is going on? Are you really with that rich guy? Dad's furious. He says if it's true, don't bother coming home for Thanksgiving." Luca's voice shook as he tried to explain. "Jake, it's not what you think. Ethan is a good man. He makes me happy." Jake laughed bitterly. "Happy? You're throwing away everything for some fling with a billionaire? Think about Emily. Think about us." The call ended with Jake hanging up. Luca sat on the edge of the bed, tears stinging his eyes. Ethan found him there and held him without words. The family pressure Luca had feared for years was now crashing down. He had always known coming out would mean choosing between the people who raised him and the man he loved. Now the choice was no longer theoretical. Meanwhile, Ethan's world was shifting too. A major investor called, questioning the distraction of the viral video. "Your personal life is your business, but optics matter in this market," the investor warned. Ethan brushed it off publicly, but Luca saw the tension in his jaw. For the first time, Luca realized his secrecy had protected Ethan as much as himself. Billionaire or not, Ethan had built his empire on a carefully cultivated image of disciplined success. That night, As they lay together, Luca traced the line of Ethan's collarbone. "What if we stop hiding?" he whispered. Ethan turned to face him. "Are you ready for what that means? The questions, the judgment, the loss." Luca wasn't sure. But the bank incident had cracked open the door, and there was no closing it gently. The days blurred into a tense rhythm. Luca tried to maintain normalcy at work, but whispers followed him everywhere. Clients mentioned the video in meetings. His boss pulled him aside for a casual chat about professionalism. The pressure mounted like a slow-building storm. At home in the penthouse, Ethan worked long hours on a new AI project, but he made time every evening to check on Luca. Their conversations grew deeper, touching on fears they had avoided before. One afternoon, Luca's mother finally called. Her voice was thick with tears. "Lukander, tell me it's not true. Tell me that video is fake. Your father hasn't slept. The church group is asking questions. What did we do wrong?" Luca's throat closed. "Mom, I love him. Ethan is kind and generous. This isn't a phase." She sobbed. "Love? This is sin, son. Come home. We'll get you help. The pastor knows people who can counsel you." The call left Luca shattered. He had expected anger, but the raw pain in her voice cut deeper. Ethan found him afterward and listened as Luca poured out the conversation. "Your family loves you in their own way," Ethan said gently. "But their love has conditions. Mine doesn't." The words hung between them. Luca wanted to believe it, but doubt crept in. Was he using Ethan as an escape from his family's expectations? Or was Ethan using his money to keep Luca dependent? A new complication arose when Luca's old college friend Marcus reached out. Marcus had always been the one person Luca confided in partially about his sexuality. They met for coffee in a quiet Brooklyn cafe. "Dude, the video is everywhere now. I'm happy for you, but your family is blowing up my phone. Your dad even called me asking if I knew." Marcus hesitated. "Look, I didn't say anything, but they're offering to fly me out to talk. I think they're desperate." Luca felt betrayed even though Marcus hadn't done anything yet. The conversation left him paranoid. Who else would his family approach? The social prejudice he had hidden from was now hunting him openly. Back at the penthouse, he confronted Ethan about the growing media attention. Tabloids were digging into Ethan's past relationships. All women, all short-lived. Headlines screamed, "Billionaire's secret gay romance exposed." Ethan sighed. "I dated women because it was easier, safer for business. But with you, it's real. I don't want to hide anymore." That admission sparked their first real argument. Luca accused Ethan of treating their relationship like a business decision. Ethan shot back that Luca's refusal to accept help was pushing them toward unnecessary pain. They went to bed angry, the space between them cold for the first time. The next morning, Ethan surprised Luca with plane tickets to a private cabin upstate. "We need time away from the noise." The weekend was healing. They hiked through quiet woods, cooked simple meals, and talked for hours about their dreams. Luca admitted his fear of losing his family forever. Ethan shared stories of his own distant parents who cared more about legacy than love. In the quiet nights, their bond felt stronger than the outside world. But reality intruded when they returned. A message from Emily arrived. "I defended you to Mom and Dad. They said if you don't end it, they're cutting me off too. I love you, but I'm scared." The family pressure was now targeting the people Luca loved most. He realized his choices were forcing others to pay the price. The video finally went fully viral after a popular gossip account reposted it with the caption, "Billionaire boyfriend saves partner from bank drama." Millions of views. Support poured in from the LGBTQ community, but so did hate. Luca's social media was flooded with messages calling him a gold digger, a homewrecker, or worse. He deleted the apps, but the damage was done. Then came the betrayal. Marcus called in a panic. "I'm so sorry, man. Your brother offered me $10,000 to confirm details about you and Ethan. I turned it down, but someone else talked. A tabloid just published an article with old photos and quotes from close sources. The article painted Luca as a struggling artist who had latched onto Ethan for money. It included details only a close friend would know. Luca confronted Marcus, who swore he wasn't the source. The doubt poisoned their friendship anyway. Ethan's company stock dipped slightly on the news. Board members pressured him to issue a statement distancing himself. Instead, Ethan did the opposite. He posted a rare personal message on his professional account. Love isn't a distraction. It's the reason we build better futures. The post only fueled more attention. The breaking point came when Luca's parents showed up unannounced in New York. They had driven straight from Ohio after seeing the latest headlines. Luca met them at a neutral hotel lobby. His mother's eyes were red from crying. His father refused to sit. "This man is using you," Dad said flatly. "Rich people like him don't settle down with boys from small towns. When he gets tired, you'll be left with nothing and no family to come back to." Luca defended Ethan fiercely, describing the real man behind the wealth. The one who listened to his dreams, supported his art, and made him feel safe. But his parents saw only sin and manipulation. The meeting ended with his father saying, "Choose, son. Us or him." Luca walked out feeling torn in two. That night, Ethan held him as he cried. "I can't lose them," Luca whispered. "But I can't lose you either." Ethan stroked his hair. "You don't have to choose alone. We'll face this together." Yet Luca wondered if together was possible when their worlds were so different. The moral conflict raged inside him. Was staying hidden the ethical choice to protect his family? Or was living authentically the only right path, even if it caused pain? The media storm intensified. A rival tech blogger accused Ethan of using the relationship for positive PR. Old colleagues of Luca's from Ohio started sharing stories online. Some true, some exaggerated. The pressure tested every foundation of their relationship. Confrontations escalated. Luca's sister Emily called in tears. Their parents had given her an ultimatum too. Distance herself from Luca or lose their support for college. "I told them no," she said. "But it hurts. I don't want to lose you or them." Luca felt the guilt crush him. His decisions were fracturing the family he had tried so hard to protect. Ethan faced his own crisis when a major contract nearly fell through because of reputational risk. He spent hours in meetings defending his personal life while maintaining his professional edge. Watching him, Luca saw the real cost Ethan was paying. Not in money, but in the energy it took to shield them both. The lowest moment came during a heated argument. Luca accused Ethan of not understanding the depth of his loss. "You've always had power. I had a normal family, and now it's gone because of us." Ethan, exhausted, replied, "You think I don't sacrifice? Every time I choose you over a safer public image, I risk the company thousands of people depend on." They both said things they regretted. Luca stormed out and spent the night at his old apartment, questioning everything. Alone, he reflected on the moral dilemmas. Hiding had been a form of self-preservation, but it had also been dishonest. Coming out was honest, but it hurt innocent people. Which was the greater wrong? The internal conflict kept him awake until dawn. Ethan showed up the next morning with coffee and apologies. They talked for hours, really talked. Ethan admitted his fear of vulnerability. Luca confessed his shame about depending on him financially. They recommitted, deciding that whatever came next, they would face it as equals. The awakening began there, realizing that love required not just passion, but the willingness to endure the consequences together. Months later, the dust had settled somewhat. Luca reconciled partially with Emily, though his parents remained distant. He started a small freelance business with Ethan's encouragement but on his own terms. Ethan navigated the business world with a new openness. Their relationship grew stronger through the trials. One evening on the balcony, Ethan proposed, not marriage yet, but a public life together without shame. Luca said yes, tears in his eyes. The journey from that suspicious bank withdrawal to this moment had cost them both dearly. Family ties strained, privacy lost, doubts confronted. But it had also brought clarity. They had paid the price for authenticity, and in the end, it felt like the only choice that honored who they truly were. Was it worth risking everything and causing pain to family and friends to live openly? Or should they have kept the relationship hidden to avoid the damage?